Hello, vinyl community. We're back, and I'm going to do the 2025 vinyl tag. This is my first time doing a vinyl tag, so I'm really excited. There's a great set of 20 questions that came from Pretty Vinyl Guy. Edwin is his name. There's been a bunch of people who have done this tag already, and I've seen a lot of great entries so far. So this is my take. So uh, on with it. First question is best purchase of 2024, old or new? So I am an old guy, or old vinyl rather, should I say. I don't really buy new purchases. So the one that I did get though, that I'm very excited about, Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. So this, in my opinion, is their best album. It's absolutely fantastic. You've got Cherub Rock, Quiet, Today, Disarm, just on and on. Beautiful. And this one here, too, is the original pressing. I'll just show you real quick because it's exciting, it's fun, it's awesome. Orange marble vinyl. So this one is a pretty big ticket item, and I was pretty stoked to find it. I actually found this one at, of all places, if you can imagine, a half price books. So super stoked to have this one. Very proud of this particular purchase. All right, so the second one is best album from 1974, 50 years ago. A lot of people are saying it should be from 1975. I didn't do last year's vinyl tag, so I will stick with the 1974, but there's a caveat. I can't do just one album. I'm a cheater. I'm going to give you a couple. So actually, I'm going to give you four. First album, Graham Parsons' Grievous Angel. This was his last album. He died real shortly afterwards, after this was released. This is the white label promo on Warner Brothers. This is an absolutely beautiful album, cosmic country, about as good as it gets if you're into the alt country, cosmic country, which I definitely am. Definitely would consider this one as an album of the year for 1974. All right, the next one from 1974, Mr. Neil Young, On the Beach. This is definitely one of his sleeper albums. Amazing. A little bit more sullen, a little bit darker material. Doesn't have any hits on it, but if you ask any hardcore Neil Young fans, this one consistently ranks as their favorite, along with Tonight's the Night. For me, it's On the Beach. Many others say Tonight's the Night. Both great, but I love this one. All right. We have Mr. Leonard Cohen, another one of my favorite artists. And this is an absolutely fantastic album. New Skin for the Old Ceremony. This is amazing. He's always been an amazing songwriter. I love this album. And the first song right off the bat, um, Is This What You Wanted? And then it goes into Chelsea Hotel number 2. Absolutely amazing. So I would highly suggest that you check this one out if you haven't heard this particular Leonard Cohen album. But another contender for best album of 1974 without a question. All right, we're gonna get off 1974 here real quick. We're gonna show one of my other favorites, Gene Clark, no other. Gene Clark is one of my absolute favorite artists, and a lot of people say that this is his best album. Tanked when it came out on Geffen in 1974. Didn't really know what to do with it, didn't know how to produce it, to sell it. And I got two copies. I have the original Asylum label here, and then I've got the white label promo. But this is an absolutely amazing album, again, in that cosmic country vein. And people have long sought this album, and it's become a cult classic since. Definitely another contender of best album for 1974. All right, we're going to go away from 1974 and on to question 3 now. An album that defines a genre. All right, the album I chose for that is Ike and Tina Turner, River Deep, Mountain High. This album to me defines soul, and it was also produced by Phil Spector, so you get that wall of sound, which just rings through so loud, true, and clear, and it's beautiful. And you can even see some of these copies come with a little hype sticker That was actually by George Harrison, and his quote is, "River Deep Mountain High is a perfect record from start to finish. You couldn't improve on it." So that's pretty high marks coming from George Harrison. But this one, I actually got the white label promo on this one as well. But River Deep Mountain High has been covered by several artists, including Bob Seger. But that's the first song on here. That's fantastic. Also, I Idolize You is a great one. Make 'em Wait. This whole album, front to back, start to finish, is fantastic. And I think, in my mind, it defines soul music, as Tina Turner often has, album after album. All right. The fourth question: best band from your home country. So, home country is big, right? That's the United States for us. But I'm going to dial it in a little bit more to home state. So, we're going to go to Minnesota for that. And my choice, I had a tough time picking between two. I was thinking the Litter initially, but I went with the Replacements, the Mats. This is their EP Stink, which is really cool. The original one had stamps that the band did all the stampings on it. They actually, I read something about it. Cut a they cut a potato in half to do some of the stamping, and marked in there and used the ink to stamp on these plain white jackets. But this is their EP Stink, and then this is their first full release album. Sorry, Ma, forgot to take out the trash. I love it up here too at the top. A lot of times it will say, for older records, it would say file under pop or file under, this one says file under power trash. But the Mats are absolutely an amazing band from Minnesota. Um, Paul Westerberg found his voice through this band, and they start out with a very punk vibe, and they get closer and closer to more of the singer-songwriter and closer to Paul Westerberg's solo career as they evolve. Absolutely phenomenal group. They're on the Minneapolis Twin Tone label, which I absolutely love. And also, the Replacements were one of the only bands to be barred permanently for life from Saturday Night Live after getting kicked out after Bob Stinson and crew completely destroyed their dress rehearsal room. They were asked to never come back. So, kind of a fun fact about the Mats. So, question number 5: an artist you miss dearly. For me, the artist I miss dearly is Mr. Dennis Wilson, and this is his solo album, Pacific Ocean Blue, which is absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's listed on the 1001 albums you should hear before you die, and rightly so. But he was always my favorite Beach Boy. He was the drummer. He was kind of overshadowed by his older brother Brian and Carl's wonderful vocals as well. But he also was an amazing songwriter and had a very beautiful voice as well. Miss this guy dearly. Wish he had more than one solo album. Number 6 is best live album in your collection. This one's a tough one. I'm not a huge live album guy, but there are certain genres like jazz and some rock. I wouldn't say arena rock that I like live albums. But here's my choice. My choice is Fela Kuti, the Africa 70 with Ginger Baker. So this is Afrobeat, as if you're familiar with Fela Kuti. And then Ginger Baker was the drummer for Cream. He was also the drummer for Blind Faith. And this thing is just a scorcher. It just starts off amazing. It doesn't have that many songs on it, so it is jazz fused as well. So horns, loud drums, and then singing. But there's only 4 songs on this whole thing, 2 on each side. But this is a great live album. And Ginger Baker said before he started working with Fela that he wasn't a dancer, but after hearing a couple of his albums, he had to dance. So they recorded this live in a studio, not with a bunch of people. It's a pretty intimate affair, 12 to 15 people, but enough to get the live feeling. And for me, that's just perfect because I don't want to hear the the stadium and people screaming in the background, like a Metallica concert or some arena tour. So this one is a banger. Definitely check it out. Right. Question number 7. Oh, this is a hard one here. Your partner just dumped you. What album are you putting on? Oh dear. So for me, I'm choosing Willie Nelson, Phases and Stages, which this one also came out in 1974 and was a contender for me for best album of 1974 without question. But this album is so beautiful. It's definitely considered one of Willie's best, if not his best. And it is a concept of album of sorts. The first side is shown through the lens or the opinion of the woman, and then side two is the man, and it has to deal with divorce. So how uh, the wife feels during the divorce, and then how the husband feels during the divorce and during the process. So um, lots of phases and stages, if you will. And this, I think, is really relevant to seeing the bigger picture, right? Like both parties had a play in what happened. And I think this is a perfect breakup album or a perfect album just to um, contemplate on in what you're going through and maybe what the other person's going through as well. So, all right. Next, we're going to bounce to something a little bit more upbeat. Best sounding drums on an album is question 8. So I'm going back to Ginger Baker. So Cream, Wheels of Fire. Love Ginger Baker as a drummer, and he has a drumming solo on the last side. So side 4 is a double album. It's live, Toad, and that's an incredibly long solo. It sounds amazing. They originally did Toad on the first album, Fresh Cream, but this one here is the banger and the one that I choose for best sounding drums. All right, number 9 is favorite artist who is a member of 2 or more bands. This one was a tough one for me, but I kind of looked back at who's been one of my favorites for a long time, and I chose Steve Winwood. And he was in many bands. He was in Spencer Davis, I'm a Man, Give Me Some Lovin', awesome. He was also in Traffic. There he is, right in the middle. Mr. Fantasy, another amazing, amazing band, absolutely phenomenal. And he was also in, I'll censor this cover, Blind Faith with Mr. Ginger Baker. This is a notorious album cover, but it is an absolutely essential album. Amazing that he was also a band, a one and done, but another group he was a part of. And then lastly, he also had a solo career, several albums in his solo career. Love the guy. He's on my bucket list to see, and I would love to see him next time he comes around town. All right, next. Okay, Beatles or Stones. So this one is always a tough one and a point of contention, but I'm gonna have to go Stones. And I'm just gonna show you the Stones album I got most recently. So I've got all their studio albums and most of the live albums up to this one now. U.S. pressings, anyways, not U.K. pressings, but Bridges to Babylon is the latest one I've got here from 1997. But yeah, so I choose Stones. Love, love, love the Beatles, but if push comes to shove, I gotta go Stones. All right. Question number 11. If you found a bag of weed, what are you going to listen to? All right. So I like, if that's a scenario, we're saying that's a scenario, we're all on board with that. I like something a little bit more chill, a little bit more laid back. I don't want anything intense if that's the journey we're going to all take together. So nothing is better for more laid back to me than reggae. And my choice for reggae, Junior Mervin's Police and Thieves. This is a great reggae album. Every track is phenomenal. And if you recognize the Police and Thieves, you may have heard that before. Yes, The Clash sampled this Police and Thieves from Junior Murvin for their version of Police and Thieves. But this is my choice, and I don't think anybody would complain about this one. So, all right. Question number 12, an album from the 80s you still listen to. I still listen to a lot of albums from the 80s, but I will say consistently a good album that I listen to from the 80s. It's just the very cusp of the 80s. I'm going to say David Bowie, Scary Monsters. So this one came out in 1980, but this one is so good. He has Up the Hill, Running Backwards, Scary Monsters, Ashes to Ashes, Fashion, Teenage Wildlife, Scream Like a Baby. Everything on here is great. And a lot of people would cite Let's Dance, which came out a couple years afterwards, as maybe a better album or a more popular one. But I think this one is consistent, good listen, time and time again. So David Bowie, Scary Monsters is my choice. Number 13, an artist whose political stance has soured you. So this one, I'm guessing someone has chosen so far because it seems like everybody is done with this guy. But we can't deny how good of a musician, and especially guitarist, that he is. And I'm going to choose Mr. Ted Nugent. I feel like everybody's over him, especially when he talks, right? You just want to hear him play. So this is his first album with Stranglehold on it, but a phenomenal guitar player. And he was also in Amboy Dukes, but I think we've all heard enough of Mr. Nugent. Okay. Question number 14. Show a favorite record label. My favorite record label, I think I've mentioned this before, is the Warner Brothers W7 label. Also, Reprise has a version of that as well. But this is Bradley's Barn. It's a white little promo. There is the Warner Brothers 7 Arts. It's a W with a 7. This came out real short period in time. Basically, I believe it was 67 to about 70 when you could get these labels. So not a lot of albums were pressed on these labels. I'll show you a couple more examples of them. This is another white label promo. Ron Elliott, the Candlestick Maker. And then we've got one of my all-time favorites with the Reprise version. We've got Fleetwood Mac, Then Play On. And here's the Reprise version that has the W7 and then the R for Reprise and the two-tone label. I've always loved that one as well. And I think that's kind of a sidekick or a buddy to the W7 logo. All right. So we have question number 15, a run of 3 great singles. So I'm not a singles guy. I don't have that many 45s. Maybe I would say I could count them on my 5 fingers, the amount of 45s I have. So I don't know if there's any notable singles, but I'm going to do a run of 3 that were an album that are phenomenal. And to me, the Cars' first album, the self-titled, you can see on the hype sticker right here, Just What I Needed, was first single. But side 1 has Just What I Needed, Good Times Roll, My Best Friend's Girl. First 3 songs, amazing singles that all charted. But even if you jump to side 2, you also have You're All I've Got Tonight and Moving in Stereo. So this is an amazing album, chock full of singles. Like I said, I don't have any of the actual 45s, but this thing is a chart topper, no doubt about it. Okay, number 16, an RSD purchase that you actually consistently listen to. So I'm not really an RSD guy. I think I mentioned this before, so I'm not buying the new albums or the ones that are released, but I will go out during RSD and I may buy used records. And one of the used records I got this last RSD was Emmett Rhodes, The American Dream. I've been looking for this one for quite some time. This one's on A&M, and I've been spinning this one pretty consistently since I got it on Black Friday. So uh, that's my choice for RSD that I listen to. All right. Number 17. You can be reincarnated as an artist, dead or alive. Who's it going to be? All right. So I'm choosing an artist that's still alive because I want to be alive. And I am choosing Mr. Chris Hillman. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with Chris Hillman, but he was the bassist for the Byrds. So he was in the Byrds all the way up from their very first album all the way to Sweetheart of the Rodeo was his last album with the Byrds, besides the reunion one they did in the early 70s. But he has had just an amazing career. He's not often been the front man. He's kind of been on the side, but I feel like he's had an amazing career, and he's had what I would consider more of a normal life, maybe, as far as a rock star goes, which is something that I think would be important to me to try to balance. So I'll show you some photos of him in some of the bands he's been in. So there's the Byrds. Here's another one from the Byrds, another amazing album. And there he is right there with his shirt off. This is right after David Crosby left. And then he was also a part of one of my favorite bands of all time, the Flying Burrito Brothers. He is right there in that fabulous nudie suit. Check that out. Looking all proud and mean. That's Graham Parsons there. And then another Flying Burrito Brothers album that I like a lot after Graham Parsons had left. He's right there. Is their self-titled one. Rick Roberts does a lot of the singing on this one. And he also had a solo career, his own albums. And then he also was part of the Desert Rose Band with Herb Pedersen there. But he just had a really great career. He's still alive. He's only 80, so he's still out there. He's still doing it. I think he's had a great life and a great career, and that's the one I would like to emulate. Okay. Best 3 lines in a song. So this one is another one where I kind of had to cheat a little bit because most songs seem to be 4 verses or 4 lines in a verse. So I'm going to do that, and I have 2 of them. But the first one I'm choosing is 9 Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine. And these 2 might better fit the sad bastard hashtag, but we're going to go with it anyways. So this is Trent Reznor's first album, Pretty Hate Machine. And the song that I'm going with is Something I Can Never Have. In the first few lines in this Something I Can Never Have, I still recall the taste of my tears, echoing your voice just like the ringing in my ears. My favorite dreams of you still wash ashore, scraping through my head till I don't want to sleep anymore. So pretty dark, pretty heavy stuff, especially considering he was only 24 at the time. So very amazing. All right, the other one I am going to share with you. Sorry, again, I'm cheating. Thin Lizzy, Johnny the Fox. So Phil Lynott was an amazing frontman, guitarist, and he was also a great lyricist. And the song that I'm choosing from Johnny the Fox is the 4th song on side 1, Don't Believe a Word. And the lines I'm choosing from there are, don't believe a word, words are only spoken, but your heart is like a promise made to be broken. And this is a phenomenal concept album by Thin Lizzy. I think it's often overlooked. If you're a fan of Thin Lizzy, if you're a fan of Jailbreak, if you're a fan of Phil Lynott, check this one out. Okay. Question number 19, an album you never tire of. All right, an album I never tire of is Caribou, Our Love. This one came out in, I think, 2013 or 2014. 2014. This is one it's electronic. Caribou is an electronic artist. and his real name is Dan Snaith. He's from Canada. I love all of his albums. This one in particular, never tire of. Can listen to over and over again. It's easy to have on the background. It's easy to give your full attention to, or not. So that is my choice. So lastly, question number 20 is share your favorite VC channel. So Todd with Lost Mixtapes mentioned a couple of these as well. I'm just going to echo those because they're also ones that I watch, and I would suggest uh, Lost Mixtapes with Todd. His videos are absolutely fantastic. I also really like Robert Fitton's channel. I think he's funny, he's poignant, he's sarcastic, he's got a great personality. He's very fun to watch. I also like Shamrock and Records. Brian doesn't do a ton of videos, but every video he does is really purposeful and has a lot of intent, a lot of heart in his videos. Yeah, and I would also like to say I watch a lot of Norman Maslow, Mazzy. He puts out a ton of content. It's all really good, very interesting. He's also very articulate and well spoken and has lots of great things to say about the albums he's reviewing. And lastly, I would just like to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Very excited to be part of the VC community and excited to post new videos into the next year here. So everybody be happy, be well, and we'll see you in 2025.